down there? It's on right now.
Yeah. That's as long as we get the stand set up. Right.
We got a lot of space over here, and don't be shy.
What was that?
People are looking for a seat. We have some friends at the back. There's a lot of room this way. You might even get a better view. So.
I started the library. What do you want us to do?
Live. I'm gonna move, like when the community people get up there, I'm gonna make sure I move this over so that I can see them. But in the meantime, I think maybe I'll move this in front.
I think you can go wherever you want.
Okay, I'll do that.
There's no one's cutting you off.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At a Rotary meeting, we always start by ringing that bell. So you're here tonight, so we rang the bell. Thank you all for coming tonight. It's just absolutely wonderful. I'm Jamie Poe. I have the honor of being the president this year of the Rotary Club of Sarnia, and the Rotary Club is happy tonight to host this meeting. The Rotary Club of Sarnia acknowledges that the land upon which we are gathered tonight is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Three Fires Confederacy. Now, the Rotary Club of Sarnia meets here at the Donny Club every Tuesday in the room on the other side at noon, and we'd like to thank the Donny Club tonight for being our hosts and providing this lovely room for us. The Rotary Club of Sarnia, if I just take a moment, we are the one that hosts the pancake breakfast, and we run the online auction each year, and we are the old Rotary Club that founded Pathways. So now there's quite a few of the Rotarians here tonight, and other Rotarians in town. Will you just stand up for a minute and kind of wave your hands so everybody can see the Rotarians that are joining us tonight? There they are. And we're always looking for new members. So now let's get things started. Here's a Rotary member, Michael John.
Welcome to all of you today to today's Sarnia Community Forum. I think we know why we're here. It's great that so many people have came. There are other things that you might be doing this evening. In preparation for this event, of course, we've been in touch with the community. They've been in touch with us. People have been sending ideas. The best one was, what time is dinner served? They knew we were meeting at the Rotary, at the Dante Club. So we know why we're here. There are folks who are experiencing homelessness. There are people living in neighborhoods that are nearby areas that are particularly affected by this, and there are folks who are struggling with addictions, untreated mental health issues. And there are families in this room that are affected by this, and as a community we're affected by this. So we'd like to invite you for a moment to just sit in silent reflection, keeping this in mind as a community. It won't be long. I invite you to join me in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to, as well as welcoming you, acknowledge visitors that we have among us. Though there are none on the podium with me, there are politicians in the room. There are folks watching from home. We have folks with a background in, all the different agencies that are at work in our community, and we have folks from Indwell who are starting to get to know our community as well. You are all warmly welcome to today's event. We come here with lots of questions. We know that the status quo is not acceptable. We know winter is coming. We know that though this is an issue that's across our province, across our country, we're feeling it particularly here. And so we're also confident, though, that together, not sure exactly how, we can come up with a made in Sarnia-Lambton response that's comprehensive, effective, and compassionate. And we want to find out tonight about some of the good work that's already being done. We also want to identify the gaps. Where do we need to go? And for that, I want to leave you with just 3 things as we start this evening. The first one is dialogue. We have folks who are going to be telling us what they do on a daily basis in building a response, what's currently being done. And they will also, and politicians and our political leaders and other leaders in our community will be listening to us as well in the later part of the evening. And that dialogue is very important. The second thing is respect. We know that when we listen to one another, things get done. And so we're inviting all of us to enter into that practice of respect. And then the third thing is that this is a process. We're not going to get it right every time. We are delighted as Rotarians to host and pull together these events. We've been working with a number of other community organizers, John Barfield, Jim Curran, and also Tom Strifler on this. And it's part of a process. We gathered in May, we're gathering in September. I think we're going to be here in a few months again to look at progress. So it's a process, that's the third thing. Today's presenters are the following. Jim Curran, who's a community volunteer, he's active in Nightlight, which is a Sarnia-based nonprofit offering drop-in support to people in downtown, at their downtown location. Ian Hanney, who is a manager of homelessness prevention at the County of Lambton. Valerie Colasanti, the general manager of social services, County of Lambton. Anita Trusler will speak about, she is a crisis system navigation program manager, part of the CHIC team. We'll find out about that. Julie Harries is going to speak regarding, she's a health system integration lead, the OHT, and also Nadine Levine is going to be speaking as well. And Miles Vanny, whom we know from the Ina the Good Shepherd. And they'll be speaking in fairly quick succession right after me. I see I've already been prompted, like get off the stage. Okay, Jim, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Curran, and I'd like to start by thanking the Rotary Group, the Dante Club, and all of you as community members for coming out this evening. I'm going to start with a short video.
You know what? We're going to start with a small city. Big cities get all the attention all the time. So, Mayor Preston, we're going to start with you. St. Thomas, Ontario, 50,000 people. Do I read this right? You have reduced over the last few years homelessness by a third. Is that correct?
It is correct. We've been recognized under the Build for Zero plan to have made some very good inroads in addressing homelessness in St. Thomas.
How have you done it?
Well, it's about gathering everybody together.
It's about gathering everybody together. I'm going to say that again. It's about gathering everybody together, and tonight is an opportunity for our community to gather together. I'm here as a community volunteer and a member of Sarnia's Nightlight family. If If you're not familiar with Nightlight, we are a drop-in center downtown on Christina Street. When I first met Murray and Gwen Stevenson, the executive directors of Nightlight, they shared how their story was addressing relational poverty in our community. Their story tugged at my heart and humanized the experience of the most marginalized in our community. What it left me wondering, and I needed better help understanding, was how relational poverty was the biggest problem that somebody was experiencing homelessness was experiencing. I come from a backcountry camping background, and I'm thinking survival skills, food, shelter, and water. I couldn't have been more wrong. I've learned from experience that if you don't know, you go see to gain knowledge. If you think you know, you go see to gain a better understanding. And if you're sure you know, you absolutely go see for validation and assurance. So I started to go see and learn by volunteering at the Divine Mercy Free Store, connecting and building relationships with our guests. Through these relationships, being curious and sincere, I became to know them as people, understand them as people, know their stories, and know what's important to them. For them to survive, they coordinate, they collaborate, and they build community. From a 10,000-foot view, it probably appears as not much is happening in this community to address homelessness, and that couldn't be further from the truth. What I quickly learned is there are so many people and community organizations working passionately where their hearts and values take them. Following the lead of our unhoused friends with a little collaboration, coordination, and shared purpose, we can come together as a community in a response to homelessness. We see and feel the challenges in our community. Those are the same challenges every community across this province is experiencing. I'm not here this evening to tell you I have any solutions to those problems. I'm not here this evening to tell you what other communities are doing and how we should implement those solutions here, though they could be useful. I'm here this evening to share with you what community volunteers and outreach teams are doing to support a coordinated community response to homelessness. A coordinated community response is intended to support our whole community, from those experiencing homelessness and businesses, community members, and neighbors impacted by this crisis. Our mission is to engage our whole community to ensure their voices and perspectives are understood in a mission to end homelessness. This doesn't mean we agree with everybody or that we support their views. What it does mean is we will actively listen. This starts with building relationships and building trust. And this is why I so passionately believe in Nightlight and the connections it creates. A coordinated community response works in spaces like housing, outreach, addiction treatment, counseling, medical, and mental health supports, to name a few. I want to highlight a few examples of where this is working well in our community today. We have the newly opened Annex Addiction Resource Center at 184 Davis by Don and Ginny Trepanier, who are with us here this evening. This is built upon the success of their St. Thomas location of the Annex and Grace Cafe. We have community outreach, the CHIC team, the police impact team, the county outreach teams, to name a few. These aren't just individual teams. They coordinate with themselves and they coordinate with us as community. We have the Salvation Army and Community Law School Outreach Project. From a distance, this looks like a meal service, but deeply focuses on conversation and connection. We know each other by name, we pray before each meal, and we all walk away fulfilled from that experience. We provide a safe place for transactional and transformational outreach, supported by community volunteers, Lambton Public Health nurses, the Sexual Assault Survivor Center, and coordinated outreach teams. Through Nightlight, a group of us visited the London Cares facility this summer to listen and learn about their journey. What we experienced was a strategic, coordinated, and a community-focused approach. It's far from perfect, and they were kind in sharing some learnings with us that I'd like to share with you this evening. One, better is good enough. Let's not let perfection get in the way of progress. Two, bring together the right people with the right mindset. Businesses, city and county officials, frontline workers, churches, community members, and most importantly, those with lived experience. Three, engage with the community and be prepared to have difficult conversations and answer tough questions, because people are angry, frustrated, and desperate. I see and feel the anger, frustration, and the desperation in our community. These feelings are real and they need to be acknowledged. You being here tonight demonstrates your passion. You want to be heard, you want change, and you want to be part of the solution. These feelings are gifts if we choose to use them positively, and we can work together. Our response to homelessness should include kindness, empathy, and love, because people will never forget how we make them feel. I'm going to summarize 3 points from everything I said tonight that I hope you walk away with. One, relational poverty is the greatest poverty somebody can ever experience. In the words of an unhoused friend, I wish I felt like I mattered to someone. 2, response. I've provided examples of community response. It's working, we just need to do more of it. And 3, like St. Thomas Mayor Joe Preston said, it's about gathering everybody together. So now that we've gathered together, please join with us and be part of the solution. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jim. And thanks for respecting the time too. You see, we've got a lot of speakers here who have important messages to share, and we've asked them each to be 5-7 minutes, and that's super. And then there'll be time for the second hour of our evening tonight to ask questions. I'd like to now invite Ian Hanney and Valerie Colasanti to the podium.
I'm the General Manager of Social Services for Lambton County, and I want to spend a few moments. Can you hear now? I just want to spend a few moments talking about the work that Lambton County does as the Social Service Manager for Housing and Homelessness. After I speak, you're going to get to hear a little bit more about some of the immediate work that's happening. I'm going to spend a little bit more time talking about the system and the long-term solutions that we're working towards that I think are really important. As a consolidated municipal service manager, we provide supports for both childcare, for Ontario Works, both employment and income supports, and for housing and homelessness. We're not responsible for directly delivering all of those services. We're responsible for making sure the systems work, that there's no gaps, that the funding gets out to the right individuals. The same is true for housing and homelessness. It's our goal to ensure that the entire suite of services, from outreach support to individuals experiencing homelessness, to emergency shelters, transitional housing, supportive housing, social or community housing, private market rental housing, to home ownership. All of those have to happen in order to have a fulsome system to move people from homelessness into permanent supportive housing. The Social Service Division receives almost $10 million in funding from the federal, provincial, and the county levy. And while that sounds like a huge amount of money, and it is, again, to provide all of those services, the dollars are really stretched. Many of the services are provided by local community partners, including Miles, who's sitting here today, given the Good Shepherd, Canadian Mental Health Association, or Children's Aid Society, REAL, and Rebound, just to name a few. We certainly don't do this in isolation. We do this with all of the community, and many of those agencies are here, and I'm so glad to see them. So the county does provide some services where gaps are identified and where those services can be best provided by the county. But we always look to the community first to see what services are already being provided. Every 10 years or 5 years, we have to update a 10-year housing and homeless plan. We'll be doing that later this year, and we're going to invite all of you to be part of that as well. It's very important to have input from the community, all of the community agencies we work with, anyone who's experienced homelessness. Lived experience is so important when we're looking for solutions. So that plan is in place right now. We do know it needs to be updated, but it provides a roadmap for us as a community and the county to move forward with providing those services. It's important for you to know there are also many housing prevention programs, including emergency rental assistance, that prevent hundreds of individuals and families in our community from becoming homeless every single month. You may not see that, but it's happening in the background. If it weren't for those programs, we would be seeing many, many more individuals living on our streets. So I'm not going to spend a significant amount of time talking about those programs. I just want you to know they're there. And if you are interested, you can certainly go to the county's website. We have a very robust website with all of our reports and all of the information. And we have a data dashboard that's updated monthly, so you can find all of this information there. And I would certainly encourage you to look if you are interested in these programs and what programs might assist those living in our community. But I do want to spend a few moments of your time speaking about the necessary long-term solutions that we have to implement here in Lambton County in order to prevent homelessness. So it's important to point out that this is a growing problem, not just in Lambton County, but all other communities. As Jim alluded, significant homeless population as well. It's an extremely complex issue. It involves social, economic, and health crisis in our community. And we need to really look at those mental health and addictions issues, as well as income insecurity and the lack of affordable housing. So the rise of encampments is a system of the worsening crisis. The one system that the county can work on and start to improve is the number of affordable and supportive housing units available within our community. So this slide is going to give you a little idea of what are we doing about the crisis. In 2023, Lambton County Council declared housing and homelessness its #1 issue. And they put dollars into an affordable housing reserve that had started in 2020, and to date almost $8 million have been put into that reserve to support this declaration. So where is that money going? Funding has been provided with the 6 projects that are listed here on the screen, including Maxwell Park Place, which will be completed in 2025, the Ontario Aboriginal Housing Bill going up next to the Inn of the Good Shepherd's Lodge, and you may have noticed construction has started on that project just recently, and recently approved Happening App project. These projects will provide 121 new affordable housing units, all located within the community of Sarnia. In addition to this, the county is contracted and working with Indwell, a Christian charity organization, who I think is here today, that creates affordable housing communities that support people seeking health, wellness, and belonging. And these could add an additional 462 affordable and supportive housing units if they all come to be within the next several years. That's a huge investment in our community. Indwell has had great success developing supportive housing in many communities in Ontario, including our neighbors in St. Thomas, as showcased today in London. And the next slide. In addition to this, County Council approved a seed funding program to provide grants to nonprofit agencies looking to develop affordable housing projects. This will assist with startup and studies and fees, which are really challenging for nonprofits to come up with. To date, 5 grants have been approved, which if all move forward, we could add an additional 150 to 175 affordable units. There are also some other bills that are being looked at in the community that aren't working with the county directly, but once they come on board, that will be an additional number of affordable units, not necessarily supportive, but affordable. Approval was also given recently by Council for the development of an additional dwelling units program that would provide funding to homeowners wanting to add an additional dwelling unit to their property as affordable housing. So that's available right now, and that information and the application form is on the website, and I'm certainly happy to provide any direct information if need be. The other program significant dollars have been put into is our affordable housing benefit, or rent supplements, where individuals and families can find their own accommodations anywhere within Lambton County, and the county will provide dollars from the amount they have available for rent to the actual rent. So it allows people to remain in their own communities as long as they can find their own apartments and things. So and we provide many of these. The number continues to grow because, of course, social assistance rates are not keeping up with market rent right now. So there's such a huge need for that everywhere in the county. So the rates for the affordable housing are approved by Canada Mortgage and Housing. We follow those rates, but we're able to provide dollars. County staff also assist with this program, seeking out landlords who may be interested in this program and have available units. If you are a landlord and you're looking to house a family or someone who needs precariously housed, we get information on our website, or Ian or I would be happy to speak to you about those. The housing developments I review will take time. They're not an overnight fix, but it's important for us to focus on these long-term solutions to solve this crisis. While we do need some immediate solutions, and some of the other presenters up here are going to talk about that, I think it's very important for you to remember there are limited funds. And if we put our funds into emergency Band-Aid fixes, we won't be able to come up with long-term solutions. And I think we can all agree that everyone in our community deserves to have a safe, affordable place to call a home. And that's what our goal is, and that's why we really want to focus on getting these units built. Thank you.
Folks, hear me? I can hear myself. Okay. My name's Ian. I'm also from the Social Services team, the Homelessness Prevention Department. I'm not going to say nearly as eloquently as Jim did how evident it is in our community, the passion around housing and in particular homelessness. Recently, we see the negative impacts on our community from the ongoing housing crisis nationally, and certainly the deepening, the worsening opioid crisis as well. Right from the health of our communities, our neighborhoods, to those that are living in precarious housing, those that are unsheltered, those that are directly experiencing homelessness, or even, I can see dozens and dozens of staff here from our various social service and human service provider agencies who have been working exhaustively for years now, but in particular over the last few years, well past the point of burnout, just to better our community. And so I appreciate all of that hard work. I appreciate all the passion in our community. It's evident for those that are online. You can't see the room probably, but the room is full of folks that just want to come and to learn more. And I'm here to talk about, very briefly, a campaign that our community has, which is aptly named Be Part of the Solution. So I'm going to steal a mess.
You know what?
Okay. So we hear all this passion in our community. We hear anger, Jim alluded to frustration. Folks are wanting to learn more. Folks are wanting to do something. They want change in their community. And so our community, all of the social, human service agencies, all those allied providers, everybody that's hands-on, exhaustively working towards the betterment of our community, to solving homelessness, have put their heads together, come up with a campaign known as Be Part of the Solution. I should also add that, of course, we included individuals with lived experience in the development of this campaign as well. And it's meant to serve a few goals. Hope this mouse works. Perfect, thank you. It's backwards, so I apologize if I'm not as deft with this. It's kind of hard for me to see, but we have a few goals with this campaign. The first is to relate to folks basic understanding about homelessness. It is a tragedy that we have homelessness expertise in a country as wealthy as Canada, but we do for decades now, unfortunately. There are right, there are wrong answers around homelessness. There are things that it's not fair for somebody, a general community member, to understand about homelessness. So we have put forward some basic information to help folks understand what homelessness means, where it comes from, what are those root causes. And this is just one of the things that folks can access this website as part of the campaign to learn more about. Through the campaign, we also tried to describe the current work that's happening around homelessness. It's been alluded to a few different times, but there are a tremendous amount of agencies that are working in a very coordinated manner, following empirical evidence, best practices, to implement programs that have, frankly, tremendous outcomes, particularly proportionally for our size of community. but it's just not well known. And of course, if individuals aren't acutely aware of what's happening around human and social services, they see the few folks, the dozens now of households that are living unsheltered, and you might think, oh, there's no work that's happening. Just the opposite is true. And I can, as I said, speak to the tremendous work of the agencies, dozens of which are in the room today. So we've created a very simple way for folks to learn more about what is happening. Collaborations that are involved in homelessness, how we're incorporating the voices of those with lived experience, and then very simply the suite of programs that we have in our community, from prevention to emergency responses to long-term solutions. And so we welcome individuals to explore these here in the simplified manner on the website as well. We also answer some frequently asked questions. I'm sure folks without this central resource, or without knowing to go to our existing Lambton County websites, are getting their information from people they know, from public forums, heaven forbid a Facebook comment section. We don't want that to happen. We want you to get the right answers. There are right answers to homelessness and housing. So we're going to provide those as human and social service agencies. I alluded to a number of agencies contributing to this campaign. We have something like 40 agencies that have all endorsed this, that are offering their own insight, their expertise, and we will continue to release content through social media, through this dedicated webpage, so that those questions, be they topical, commonly asked, can be answered, again, with correct information. And the third goal, the central goal, I would say, and it's in the name of this campaign, is a call to action. And that's for folks to be part of the solution. Absolutely anybody in our community can be part of the solution. It could be your neighbor, you could be a service provider, you could be a landlord like Valerie alluded to, you could be any type of healthcare professional. There's a role for everybody to productively be part of the solution. So we have, again, with consultation with all of those agencies that are hands-on doing this work, with lived experts, we have offered a simple list of things that folks can do that can direct their passion on this issue to productively be part of the solution, starting with becoming informed. We want folks to have the right answers. We want our community to be informed about what is happening, what some of those right answers are. To offering your time, your goods, even your funds to those agencies that are doing this hands-on work. Non-for-profits like Miles, we've got the Rotary Group who's hosting us today, who's collecting funds towards supportive housing. Those are meaningful contributions that you can do to be part of the solution. To and including, of course, all of potential developers and landlords that want to be part of the solution by way of housing solutions. So I'll wrap up. I'm sure folks are stressed out because I've been up here for too long. But I encourage everybody to visit the website. We're going to be sharing it through the county social media page. We're going to be further sharing it through all of our networks. Essentially, it's a call to action. You can see, you can hear all the passion in our community. I think folks can make the choice to be a productive part of the solution this way. And certainly, we will be listening as well to the community for feedback on the content that's here, and we can answer questions. We can use this as a vehicle to keep folks informed. Michael John alluded to this being a dialogue moving forward, and this is one of the ways that we hope to do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ian. I'd like to invite Julie and Nadine now to the podium.
Thanks for that musical introduction. So we just wanted to say thank you to everyone that was able to make it out tonight. Really glad that we were invited to participate in this panel today. It's wonderful to see so many community members here and invested in this challenge that we have in our community. So we are presenting on behalf of the Sarnia-Lambton, Ontario Health Team. So my name is Nadine Neve, and I'm the executive lead for the Sarnia-Lambton, Ontario Health Team, and my colleague Julie Harries is our health system integration lead. So I'm guessing that this is probably the first time many of you in this room have heard of an Ontario Health Team. So instead of starting with some of our outreach mapping information that we were part of, we thought we'd give you a bit of an overview of what an OHT is and how we fit into this puzzle. So I'm going to let Julie take it away here, and then she'll give you some of the overview of the outreach mapping that we did with a number of the partners.
Thanks for that, musical introduction. So we just wanted to say thank you to everyone that was able to make it out tonight. Really glad that we were invited to participate in this panel today. It's wonderful to see so many community members here and invested in this So Ontario health teams are here to help connect health system partners. The OHTs were starting to be announced throughout Ontario in 2019. Our local OHT was announced November 2020, and with that we had 35 partner organizations. Since then, we've expanded to 40 different organizations participating together, connecting care, and coordinating access to provide people with supports and services locally. We keep expanding these Ontario health teams because we know that when we work together with our partner organizations, that we can make a difference and we can change the system and access to care. When you look up at the screen there, you're seeing how people are currently accessing care. You go to individual organizations, it might not be connected with information in the background. You have problems with coordinating your care. You might not know where to go or where to access care. OHTs are here to help change that. So in the bottom picture, you're seeing how we envision healthcare going forward. OHTs are working with our partner organizations. We're working with healthcare partners, we're working with social service partners. And what we're doing is working to create a comprehensive, cohesive system that shares information, that integrates care. And with that, we're listening to each of our partners, and we are putting patients, families, and caregivers at the center. We're making sure that our patients, our families, and our caregivers have their voices at the table and that they are a part of our planning processes. We are working together to make sure that when people go to access care, it doesn't matter where you go, it's a no wrong door approach. Somebody can help you and help you navigate to what you need. So we wanted to share with you today that we have many different partners and we're working together on many different priorities locally. One of those organizational priorities that we have is mental health and addictions. And one of the priorities that we started with transitional age youth, which is youth aged 12 to 25 years old. And then now that we have YHU up and running, we're working towards additional priorities of mental health and addictions, especially those that are homeless. So recently, our OHT's Mental Health and Addictions Advisory Council determined that we would map out outreach services and we would capture the current state of what current outreach services are being provided, what each organization is doing. So we brought together over the summer 20 different service providers. We put out a survey so that they could provide input on what they are currently doing and where they're providing their services. And then we also brought all of the organizations together into one room to share with each other strengths, opportunities, and further mapping. Some of the strengths that were highlighted in the survey and with the mapping was that we have some amazing outreach teams in our local areas. Those teams are going out and they're meeting individuals where they're at. We have the CHIC team that you're going to hear from after. We have our mobile care bus that goes out and provides primary care access across Lambton County. We have the housing and homeless outreach team that is out on the streets day after day, meeting people where they're at and providing services. There's a trauma-informed approach being used by providers, making sure that further harms are not happening. Partnerships and cross-sectoral collaboration between health sector and social services are key, and they are happening right now. We are coordinating with each other and working to make these systems better. Some of the opportunities highlighted tonight are the Be Part of the Solution campaign. That is something that we endorse and that we are hoping that each and every one of you will be a part of. We are continuing to focus on those transitions in care. We want people to be able to access that system and then be connected to all of the different supports available to them. There's tools for people to navigate the system and services like age-friendly Sarnia-Lambton. We are providing access points through different initiatives like connection cubes at the Sarnia Library. The OHT is here tonight because we want to continue to support this work moving forward. We want to listen to each and every one of you, the people who are here in the room tonight and those that are out in the community. We want to be an active member of the Be Part of the Solution campaign and continue to work closely with all of our partners across the county. We can't stress enough how important it is that people know where to go when they need supports and services. There's so many amazing organizations across the county, and sometimes people just don't know that they're out there. We've been working towards expanding and promoting our local navigation tools and building relationships with partners to expand our local navigation services. A couple examples of those are age-friendly Sarnia-Lambton website with over 600 local service listings. We have both health and social service supports for all ages and stages of life. The Community Navigator line, provided in partnership with the Family Counseling Center in partnership with Age Friendly, where people can talk to a live person for support 7 days a week from 9 to 5. Sometimes it just takes talking to a live person to get that extra support and care to navigate to services. The Connection Cube network we're looking to build across Lambton County. The first Connection Cube was launched in partnership with the Lambton County Sarnia Library to provide individuals access to soundproof space with virtual access to services. You can use that space to connect to virtual care, social services, navigation supports, and so much more. Through these cubes, we can help reduce travel barriers, tech barriers, and increase service access across our county. I wanted to thank you again for the opportunity to present and to provide an update on the mental health and addictions outreach mapping that we're doing, about what our partners are doing across the county to collaborate, and how we're working together to make Lambton easier to navigate and access services. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judy and Nadine. I'd now like to invite Anita Trusler to speak about the CHIC team.
Thanks, Michael. I want to thank the Rotarians for the invitation to present at today's community forum on homelessness and participate in an extremely important community conversation. My name is Anita Trusler, and I am the Crisis System Navigation Program Manager with Lambton Emergency Medical Services. Lambton EMS is a department within the Public Health Services Division of the County of Lambton. My role as the program manager is to build, implement, and evaluate a new community health integrated care program in Lambton County that can provide support to individuals, or as we like to call them, neighbors, because they live in our communities and they really are our neighbors, who are living with complex needs related to homelessness, mental health, and or addictions. We can go to the next slide. Thank you. The Community Health Integrated Care Pilot, CHIC is the acronym that I'm going to use moving forward, is an opportunity to launch a new paramedic-led mobile crisis response team to make it easier and more convenient for people experiencing homelessness and or mental health and addictions crises to get the support that they need. And I just want to acknowledge that our CHIC team in the green shirts at the side of the room are here with us tonight. So the CHIC program pairs a Lambton EMS paramedic with an allied health crisis worker from Blue Water Health who is a substance use navigator. While the paramedic has skills and expertise to assess a patient's condition and administer necessary medical interventions and response, the substance use navigator is certified in addictions counseling, mental health first aid, harm reduction outreach, and can provide direct pathways to withdrawal management supports when they are available. The team works 12 hours per day, 7 days a week, and they're scheduled between the hours of 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. The team is deployed by vehicle. You can see the picture of the vehicle on the slide. But they're also deployed by bike, going on the Howard Watson Trail, visiting encampments, and oftentimes by foot. You'll recognize them around town in their green shirts, and as winter approaches, they'll have their green toques on to keep them warm. The program is fully funded by the province of Ontario. Lambton EMS received $2.5 million to build the pilot over the next 3 years that will see us through to March 31st, 2027. Our target population includes Lambton County residents who are impacted by the social determinants of health and experiencing challenges related to housing and homelessness, mental health, and/or substance use disorders. This pilot program is helping to break down barriers to accessing care and support in our community for mental health and addictions. The team can provide on-scene interventions, de-escalation, and emotional support. They can provide connections to mental health and addiction services, primary care, and community-based support programs. They are able to interact with and develop relationships with people experiencing complex needs related to homelessness, mental health, and/or substance misuse. And most importantly, they can provide trauma-informed care on the street in encampments, shelters, and homelessness prevention and resource programs. The CHIC pilot program is an opportunity for Lambton County to reimagine community-based care by creating easier ways for our most vulnerable populations to access health care when and where they need it the most. We can go to the next slide. I just want to share with you some of the, there we go. So the CHIC team launched on June 7th of this year. So they've been out on the streets in Lambton County for just over 3.5 months. In that time, this team has had already over 685, and I would say as of today, that number will be over 700 engagements with neighbors or a marginalized population in this community. Of those engagements, 82% of our neighbors identify as being unhoused, 15% identified as being housed in a private room, apartment, or rented room, but that could also include couch surfing, and 3% are unknown or chose not to identify to the team. 58% of our engagements are really identified by assertive outreach, by going out and getting to see the people where they're at. Assertive outreach is an approach to engage people sleeping rough and overcome not just the barriers that are preventing them from accessing support, but also the barriers preventing them from accessing housing and health care. 63% of the referrals that our team receives are for wound care. We're seeing a lot of need out there in the community. Chronic conditions that the team are identifying through engagements include addictions, mental health conditions, and many individuals have had recent infections in the last 30 days. 21% of the patients or the neighbors that our team is seeing have developed enough trust with the team to agree to being referred to other programs and services. Most commonly, those services are the mobile care bus, which has been instrumental in providing access to primary care supports through our nurse practitioners in the community. 31% referred to Blue Water Health Emergency Department, and 13% referred to the Mental Health and Addictions Program. Many of the neighbors or individuals that we are seeing have experienced significant trauma. They've had negative experiences with the healthcare system, and they have a very high level of distrust. It takes time to build trusting relationships through assertive outreach. But over time and repeated engagements, we are starting to see people become more accepting of care. There is hope. We can go over one more slide to wrap it up. I just want to acknowledge that we couldn't do this alone. The CHIC team works within a circle of care that includes the County of Lambton Housing and Homelessness Prevention Team, the Sarnia-Lambton Mobile Care Bus, the Sarnia Police MHART and Impact Team who's here tonight, the Lambton OPP Mobile Crisis Response Team, the Blue Water Health Mental Health and Addiction Services Team, and the Emergency Department, Lambton Public Health, North Lambton Community Health Centre, the Sarnia-Lambton Ontario Health Team, and integral partners who helped us pull our application for funding together, the Canadian Mental Health Association, the Inn of the Good Shepherd, and the John Howard Society of Sarnia-Lambton. You can see pictures or logos of these partners within our circle of care represented on the slide. Our team actually receives referrals from within the circle of care, and we often work in collaboration with our partners to provide care to neighbors in the places that they're at. In closing, I just want to say that the CHIC team has been supporting neighbors in our community for just over 3.5 months now. We continue to say that we are building as we go, and that we recognize that the work will continue to evolve as additional needs are identified and as additional support becomes available in our community. We have grown to appreciate the value of partnership and collaboration, and the difference that care and compassion can make in delivering outreach services. As my colleague Ian Hanney has shared, through learning, understanding, and taking action, everyone can be part of the solution to ending homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anita. And now I'd like to invite Miles Manny, our last speaker, before we switch into Q&A. Miles Manny from Anita Good Shepherd.
Thank you, Michael John. And I'll add our appreciation to the Rotary Club and the Dante Club for hosting this event. And I have to say how heartening it is to see such a great community response. I'll speak on behalf of kind of all the various service providers. Sometimes, particularly the folks that are in the front lines, working directly with clients, sometimes we feel like we're slugging on our own. And it really is heartening to see the number of people here that says this is a community need, a community concern, and we're all behind that. So thank you very much for coming out tonight. We'll go to the first slide, please. We want to talk a bit about what we're doing at the Inn in terms of programs and supports for folks to help people get through these very difficult times. We're looking at our food and supports immediate work that we're doing. We have the soup kitchen. We're now seeing over 120 people a day coming for the meal. A lot of them coming from Rainbow Park, which is really important because we're glad to see that people are coming for some nutrition and getting a hot meal every day. So our soup kitchen is pretty busy with that. Along with that, we have a pizza and bread takeaway, so folks that after the meal they can take some items with them, whether they're going back to an apartment, if they're couch surfing with somebody, or back to Rainbow Park, there's some food that they can take away with them as well. We also provide kind of customized food and snack bags for individuals. Each week, those that are unhoused can come and get a bag of food that can meet their needs in terms of not needing can openers, not being needed to cook or anything. So again, helping to ensure that there's nutrition and supports for those individuals. We provide outreach team support. So Canadian Mental Health Team, the county outreach workers, they come into the Inn, they pick up supplies, maybe some clothing, maybe some food, maybe some snacks, so that when they're doing their rounds, it helps build a relationship with the individuals they're serving and to help provide some care and supports for them. We have clothing that we help provide. We provide support to the medical teams. CHIC and the care bus have been great additions to our community in terms of caring and supports, and is enabling folks that maybe have a slight wound or have a slight medical issue to get a treatment, get attention, so that it doesn't fester and become something much more serious, something that's going to take more resources at the hospital or such. So we host them at the lodge, we host them coming into the Inn and to the overflow site at Lauralee. And finally, we have a showers program at the lodge, so that folks that are unhoused can have a chance to come to the lodge and Confed, get showered, look after hygiene, get cleaned up that way. Next slide, please. So from a shelter point of view, we have 4 programs that we're working. We coordinate in a partnership with the county. I will have to say that we enjoy a tremendous amount of support from the county for the work that we're doing and helping to coordinate. So we have the Good Shepherd's Lodge on Confed. We have we've added beds, so we now have 35 beds available in there. And generally most nights we're seeing that as full. We have the Haven, which is our youth shelter, which has 9 beds. The overflow shelter we are working with the county on and operating, and we're seeing we've got over 30 beds. I think we're up to 35 beds now at the overflow shelter. So there's a tremendous number of beds that are available, so that, and we see people coming and going. Some nights there may be a few vacancies we filled with other individuals as they come in. And then we have, right now, currently about 9 families in motels on the Golden Mile. The shelters aren't working in terms of an appropriate place for children, so we're giving them shelter and motels and supports from various community agencies to assist those families, while with the crisis workers with the county really focus on getting them housed. On our next slide, we're looking at what we're trying to do for some permanent solutions. We have a transitional housing program at the Good Shepherd's Lodge. So we have 19 beds that are set up in kind of a college dorm style, where 3 or 4 or 5 bedrooms share a kitchen, a living room, a washroom, and we're teaching life skills to individuals in that transitional housing program. These would be folks that have been repeatedly homeless with a lack of life skills to be able to maintain housing. So we work with the individuals there to teach them financial skills, how to shop, how to cook, life skills like communications, problem solving, and really working with them. They're paying a small rent there, so they're building a line of credit so that they're prepared in 6, 9 months, maybe a year, to have those life skills to be able to move out into an apartment and be self-sufficient there. And we've had great success with that in terms that we see very few returning to shelter. They're able to maintain that housing. And in fact, we're so excited that this September, 4 of the residents of our transitional housing program have entered into college. And that's the next step. Once you get them stabilized, you get them to once their immediate survival needs are looked after, then you can start to focus on education, focus on employment and that sort of stuff. So we're quite proud of those individuals now. The other project that we're looking at from a permanent housing point of view is an affordable housing bill. That's not something that the Inn has never been involved in housing, permanent housing like this before, but certainly our board identified a need a couple of years ago that, builds were happening, but they were all at market rent, and everybody knows what's happened with market rent. It's doubled in the last 6 to 8 years, and it's just squeezed too many people out of being able to get into apartments, and that's added to our homelessness problem. So our board has looked at exploring, and we have a parcel of land we're hoping to get rezoned. It's in the hands of the city right now. And our hope is that we will be able to build about a 56-unit affordable housing project there with 6 townhouses, smaller townhouses along with that as well. And that could give 60 units to be able to bring individuals or families into affordable housing. So it's a big project for us in terms of funding and that, but we're quite excited with that opportunity because we see such a real need in our community. And the next slide, please. And everybody, actually all of our panel has talked about this. It takes a village. No agency does this alone. No individual does this alone. It's about working together. As they said in St. Thomas, it's about bringing the community together. And we put just a small list of agencies that we work hand in hand with to be able to support these folks. And there are a lot of boots on the ground in agencies that are working to deal with people in the specialty areas that they do. And we need to be pretty proud as a community, that response and the people that we have. Certainly there's more people in need, and we've seen that amount grow, but there's a lot of talent and a lot of caring, and as I said, a lot of boots on the ground working together to help folks. So appreciate and applause to all those agencies and others that are involved with this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miles. We're going to shift gears now to the community engagement part of the evening. We're really on time. As we just get organized here, I'm going to invite John DeGroot to come up and also Tom Streicher. They're going to be managing mics. And I'm going to turn it over in a moment to John Barnfield, who's going to chair this part of the evening. We just want to show you a video. It's about 60 seconds, and it just gives you a bit of flavor of what it's like to be frontline, as we've been hearing about.
against homelessness.
I turn the podium over to John Barnfield. You are watching at home. We're not taking live questions from you at home, but we do encourage you to send an email to us, Sarnia Community Forum at gmail.com, and we're going to keep that open. We're going to make sure that anything we receive is passed on to the right authorities. Okay, so over to John Barnfield now.
The mic down here quite a bit. Anyway, so this is a proud moment for me and for our organizing team, the group of 4 that have spent we as a community don't seem to be able to cooperate to the potential that we have. I'm delighted tonight with the people sitting behind me, they shared their stories of their level of involvement and participation. And there's a lot of good news stories. So I guess there's one key message is there is a lot of really good things going on. We aren't necessarily particularly very good, or haven't been very good at maybe communicating that to the community. But I do want to start by acknowledging quite a few people, a large number of people that submitted questions ahead of tonight. And I want to just, if we can move to the next slide. We take the topics that we collected and we sorted them into, there are 3 primary topics that you as the community, and I say you as the community, whether it's in these 4 walls or outside, have said to us, the 3 big topics, and it shouldn't be a surprise because 3 big topics. One is around encampments and transitional housing. No surprise there, I suspect. The addiction crisis, I use those 2 words deliberately, addiction crisis, is clearly an environment that's going on at the moment that is really, in many ways, we say, is the real root cause of encampments and transitional housing. So we want to address that a little bit more. And the idea, what we're hearing from you, the community, is the need for better communication and collaboration. Now you might say, within the light of what we've heard tonight, wow, there's a lot of really good things happening, and there are a lot of good things happening. So what we're trying to do is put that in some form of perspective. So with that in mind, before we get into the Q&A, the open mic session part of that, I just want to invite a couple of people just to come up briefly to sort of set the stage a little bit. One in terms of encampments and affordable housing, transitional housing. And I'm going to, and then invite Don here, Don Trepanier, to come to say a couple of words about the work that you're doing in terms of the addiction, addressing the addiction crisis. So I'm going to ask the 2 of you, if you don't mind coming up to the mic there, where Tom is, and Anne-Marie, do you want to maybe start us off, set the stage in terms of what you would hope to say?
Well, actually, I'll hold it, Tom, it's okay. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Bonne soirée to tout le monde. And I also am so very happy to see so many county representatives, because they are doing a lot of work, and a lot of it we don't understand, and a lot of it we don't see. So it begs the question as to why are we in the city at an impasse right now? Our city is angry, it's divided, people are living in tents in our city parks, and everyone is overwhelmed and afraid. Our city is no stranger to the problem of homelessness. In the past, the city, the county, the churches, and citizens came together to create a shelter system. Soup kitchens, food banks, clothing drives, agencies to help our youth, circle programs, and the list goes on, all to build bridges out of poverty. In November 2013, as a county councillor, I was part of the team that developed a housing and homeless plan with the ultimate goal of housing for all. In the past, the upper levels of government worked with the city and the county in a system that worked extremely well. The city provided the bricks and mortar, and the county provided the county services. As a county and city, this was our relationship, our mandate, if you will. But times have changed dramatically. Things have gotten progressively worse. Rent for apartments is out of reach for many. There's no affordable housing, and none have been built for the past 30 years. Youth are aging out of programs that were meant to be their safety net. And the drug crisis is out of control. People are seeking shelter in tents, in our parks, under bridges, under roadways, any place that they can find a space. While our emergency shelters sit with spaces unused, the upper tier government, federal and provincial, says there is no money, and the justice system tells municipalities, you must do more. We are indeed at an impasse. But not tonight. Tonight, we are coming together as a community, once again, to find solutions to this issue that can no longer be ignored or driven away. I believe that we need to find alternatives to our current shelter system. I believe that we need to be there for everyone, even when they fail. I believe that we need to fight for fairness. I am constantly reminded of a quote from Denzel Washington. He says, "If you look for a reason to do nothing, you will find one. But when we come together to work together through a problem, we create solutions." So many people in our community have come together to build affordable supportive housing, and the Rotarians are at the top of that list, and we thank you so much. They are working towards that goal, but those bills are 2 to 5 years out. City Council is looking to bridge that gap. We are looking to develop a plan that will provide temporary transitional tiny shelters. The bricks and mortar to get folks out of the tents and into shelters that are no bigger than 100 square feet, but provide a roof over their heads and a door that will lock. And we look to our county partners to provide the services people need as a helping hand until the affordable housing can be built. We need to believe that we can change hearts and minds, as John has said, so that we can move our city forward to a better future. So together, we can build bridges out of poverty. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Thank you, Rotary, for inviting us to this wonderful gathering. My name's Don. This is my wife Jenny. We're new to Sarnia. We lived in St. Thomas. Prior to this, we moved to Sarnia 9 months ago. And we used to come to Sarnia because we just loved coming here. It was so beautiful. And we actually used to, well, we still call it Narnia, in fact. So, but 10 years ago, we saw the issue in St. Thomas, and we wanted to be part of their solution. So 10 years ago, I'm going to turn the mic over to Ginny.
10 years ago, it's hard to believe that we've managed all this time when we never asked for funding, and our hearts are just to be there and serve. So people like us, isn't that sweet? People hate us, isn't that sweet? We're still there, we're still doing it. And now we've moved here, it is still running and operational at 70 to 120 meals in 4 hours and 250 cups of coffee. And people can come in there and snooze and lounge. It's a very comfy place because there is a life after addiction. There is fun after addiction, and we are working on that. So birthdays, and we do Christmas, and we do Thanksgiving, and we wear silly hats. Let's bring some fun into it. There's no joy, and especially after the pandemic, it's much worse. But we have that same feeling about, I'm not gonna say Narnia, Sarnia. The thing about us is that we are early morning. Our hearts are really for those dragging their carts through the snow, through the sleet, through the mud. First thing in the morning when it's still black, we will be there. I've been making soup for the last any number of years at 5 in the morning, and then we open, I'm thinking 6 now, but probably 7 in the morning. It depends on how much the need is. So we will open, people can come in and get coffee, get warm. They can get 2 pairs of dry socks, because who likes wet, freezing feet? I mean, that's no fun. So we will help any way we can, and we are very serious about this. And we've been doing it a long time, and we have lots of experience, and we have found a good place to be. The cafe is about a month away, because when you're bringing food to the public, it's a whole different animal. So about 7 years ago, I'm just beside myself, because food is not enough, clothes are not enough. So what is going to help in this? That would be the annex.
So what Ginny did mention was 10 years ago we started a charity. That was an experience, but we were successful there, and we have been serving food, and we've been providing clothing through the Grace Cafe. And 3 years ago, we decided that food and clothing and compassion wasn't enough. We needed to talk to people about their addictions. I've been in rehabilitation for about 25 years. I'm an addictions counselor, and I was part of the problem a long time ago. But we felt that we needed to start a street mission right beside the cafe, so we opened up a storefront, another storefront, where we engaged with people who were coming into the cafe on the street. So it was frontline to talk about the option of getting into treatment programs. I believe strongly through my work, through my employer, that there is hope and freedom from addiction. I've seen it thousands of times. I won't mention the name of the company or the organization, but we are not affiliated directly with them, but we want to take that message of hope and freedom from addiction and bring it to those in need. We know that people who are marginalized, who are engaging in substance use, very much are caught or trapped, don't have supports. It's very much them against the world. In some measure, they engage in substance use to try to bring some normality to their lives. You've heard the term trauma-informed perspective or trauma-informed care. That's all about that. So we want to be compassionate. We want to help people consider options to get into recovery programs in Ontario. We're not affiliated with any program, and the journey of recovery is not a straight line. It's very bumpy. There's many attempts at recovery, you relapse many times, so there has to be support after programs as well. So it's a lifelong, I guess, relationship, a trust relationship. And that's what we want to provide. We just opened our doors literally like 3 weeks ago. So we're new to Sarnia, we're going down this road, and we're happy to be part of the solution here in Sarnia.
Feel free when the Grace Cafe gets open to come and visit, but not all at once, please.
Before we get into the open mic session, there's one announcement, if you like, that I'd like to make. And this is one of several, but it's one that I think tonight is very sort of worthy of. And it's a very brief message from an organization called Southside Solutions. And Sherry, on their behalf, says the following. We are primarily the people of the south side of Sarnia that this community sees as the biggest problem needing to be addressed. We are, for the most part, the people whom this community directs their anger, frustration, and fears. One problem, though, no one has asked us. No one has invited us to the conversations. No one has involved us in the decisions that are being meant to directly impact our lives. So I promise out, and I know there may be people here tonight that can identify with that message, and welcome. So at this point, we're going to go into the open mic part of the evening, which is an opportunity for people to come and ask questions on anything that has been, hopefully, that has been presented tonight, primary topics or not. We will invite you, please, to, rather than have a mic that's going to do the round, we're going to ask you to burn off some calories if you don't mind. He's come up to Tom. If you have questions, comments, or whatever. We will restrict you, please, to 90 seconds, because I suspect we have a large number of people here tonight. I want to make sure we do fair, everybody is fair. So it comes to 90 seconds. Right, okay, go. If you can give your name and then your question.
Hi, my name is Greg Schofield. I'm a taxpayer in the community here. I have been for 40 years. Although my accent would think it's just off the phone. But anyway, my question is really around the proposal that was published. Biggest concern is the cost that's going to be associated with the transitional homes. I estimate this thing is going to cost at least $10 million. And that's a reasonable guesstimate. And I would like to make a proposal that before Sarnia commits taxpayers to pay $10 million, there should be a referendum put forward. The citizens of Sarnia get an opportunity to vote on that. Not just a matter for the council to approve.
The comments and the name so that we can get back to you, whether it's tonight, part of our ongoing process. So can I get a yes? Yes. Could you just repeat your name, please?
Graham, Graham Schofield.
Graham Schofield.
Schofield.
So, Graham, thank you, and we'll note that, and thank you. No, stop the timer.
Bob Bailey's sitting over here. He's the MPP for Sarnia-Lambton. I would like to know from him what's happened to the funding that the province is supposed to be sending to cities like Sarnia-Lambton to support the needs that the community does need, obviously shown by the people who want to stay.
Okay, we'll note that as a related question to your first one. And then if Bob so wishes, or whoever so wishes to reply to that, let me know. We'll deal with that tonight. If not tonight, it'll be... Okay, go ahead. Yes. Go ahead,
George Vandenberg. John, I don't have a question. I have a statement from somebody that sent me an email back on August 19th to Sarnia City Council, and it was never responded to, but I think their side needs to be heard here tonight as well. I want to thank everybody for your participation in your presentation. That's fine, but I think we need to hear from the other side, from people that are on the other side of this equation as well. If you don't mind, I can read it in. It's going to take a little longer than 90 seconds.
How long, much longer than 90 seconds?
I think that they need to be heard. If you don't mind.
And can you do it in 2 minutes? Because I want to make sure, please, make sure that there is okay, go George.
Okay, today I have not voiced my concerns about Rainbow Park, but rather I've sat back to see how it all plays out. I've certainly received a large amount of emails and telephone calls daily. Not only have you released your encampment protocol and advise which properties can be occupied by encampments, I would like to have my key concerns noted for the record. Currently, I want to give you a voice from the vulnerable sector that is dealing with this overlooked and forgotten through the whole process. This story I am about to tell you is to support the removal of the lands of Brights Grove, Ontario from the allowable encampment site. We already got us gone, but anyway. I work in Sarnia, Ontario downtown. I reside in Brights Grove, Ontario. I'm a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen of what used to be a great city, Sarnia. I relocated here from Toronto with my 2 children over 30 years ago. My husband and myself raised 5 children, together all of which are now employed in construction, police, fire, and plumbing. I'm a grandmother of 12, expecting another one. Some of my grandchildren reside in the South End near Rainbow Park. The voice I want to hear is my 13-year-old grandson who is high-functioning autistic. A daily adventure for my grandson, his siblings, and friends was to Rainbow Park for playing. That is being taken away. Living down here, he's had to witness sex in public, drug use, violence in the park, death in the park, and daily visit by police, ambulance, and fire. He has gotten off the school bus to watch observing a person in the middle of the street who has had overdosed. This is at the corner of Queen and Divine, which I'm familiar with. He has seen a girl beaten with a baseball bat. This is a 13-year-old boy that's seeing this, all right? And others in that neighborhood. So I want you to be very aware of this. Well, 4 men stood by and my eyesight isn't that good, kicked her as a security guard watched and did nothing. There was a murder in the apartment complex near this home. He has had his bike stolen twice. He's been accosted by some of the residents of Rainbow Park, threatening him bodily harm while in his own driveway playing baseball. This is again in this area around Rainbow Park.
George, that's why we're here. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Well. So basically, you have to start remembering that these people that live in that neighborhood need our support as well. I haven't heard that tonight yet. I haven't heard that from anybody.
George, that's why we're here. Okay. That's why we're here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Will. Okay, yes, next please.
My name is Richard Lalone. I have a question and a comment. There was $12.5 million announced in 2022 to have a withdrawal management program at our hospital. And it was designated, that $12.5 million was designated right then. Why are we taking some? What's going on? 24 beds in the office of Bob, maybe you can help us there.
Okay, you want to comment on that, Bob, or not? At this stage? Okay, you'll summarize at the end. Thank you.
And another, just a comment. I live downtown too, and we don't have time at Rainbow Park. There's gonna be deaths this year. There's gonna be people losing their hands, their fingers, their toes. It's gonna happen. I've witnessed it, like this gentleman has talked about. There are severe issues. Winter is, mentioned earlier. Last year, winter, we seen it. It was severe and devastating to these
So
people.
we'll make sure we capture that, Heather. Thank you very much. Thank you.
My name is Julie Horenowitz, and I'm visiting your city for the first time. I've driven past many times. I took beautiful pictures of your waterfront and then ended up at Rainbow Park. I did ask some individuals exactly why they are where they are, and many indicated that because of their past or ongoing criminality or past issues with social services, they are on banned lists from being able to apply for housing. That's happening in every other community, including the community I'm coming from. I did run a drop-in center as well that had zero gravity lounge chairs, washrooms, laundry, and place to get a snack. The washrooms are closed at Rainbow Park right now. They had a fence around it because I asked them where they use the facility, and they're not allowed to use the facility there. So if a number of people who are staying in encampments across the province and across the country have criminality, what is the plan for social services in particular to develop a better way to house individuals who are experiencing homelessness and not have criminality be their largest barrier, or else they have a life sentence for homelessness? What is the plan? Thank you. A life sentence for homelessness. What is the plan? Thank you.
Thank you. Ian?
Julie, thank you so much for the question. I appreciate the question. Just to clarify, there's no such thing as a ban for social housing, which I think is what you were describing here. Individuals are welcome to work with one of our teams, one of dozens of agencies in our social and human service network in order to be ready to get their application in, to work with us. All of our teams do this. It's one of the first things that we do with folks when they access our services. All of our shelters and all the transitional housing is very housing focused. There's not anything like a permanent restriction to access social housing. Of course, individual instances of extreme violence we see at shelter have to be met with a timeout, which is always temporary, and we do this individually with the individuals, with managers. This happens on a neighborhood basis, and of course, part of our outreach team's role is to communicate this with folks very consistently, and we stay very well communicated and very connected rather with all those agencies. So the folks understand it's just a 48-hour timeout, say, and that's a very common timeout, for example. But those timeouts, those service restrictions, they are due to very extreme, escalated incidents of violence. That's the most common reason. Perhaps even in front of our staff, right? So of course we staff a location. We have to keep it safe. We have to keep it safe not just for the individuals on our teams, Miles and I, but as well for all the other residents that are there. So just to clarify, I wanted to, for very simplistic.
Hi, I'm Charles Holm. I'm like Chuck normally. This is my first meeting I've ever been to, but I have watched a few online. And my question, I have a couple questions actually and a solution. My first question is, how much money are we spending on Rainbow Park every month when you're sending police, fire, and all of you people down there, plus EMS, us, and everything else that has to go on Rainbow Park per month? How much are we spending? Do you know? That's okay. You know, I don't care. I know it's a lot of money, and I know everybody here thinks it's a lot of money, and everybody here thinks that nothing is actually happening, which is true. How many people is there at Rainbow Park right now? What if I told you we could find a place to house 100 of them? What if I told you there's a way we could house 100 of them? And you guys can visit them and take care of them. They actually have a bed, they get meals, they turn around and can use the washroom and have a shower when they need to. I don't understand why nobody thinks of these things. The reason I do have a great idea, and I know it will work, and we could get these people off the street before winter even shows up. And you guys would have the opportunity to work with those people to turn around and get them better. I would like to tell you, but the problem is, if I tell you, somebody runs away with my idea. I will talk to somebody. I am more than willing to share my idea with somebody who has the authority to make it happen. If you don't have the authority to make it happen, if you're not on council, not Mike Bradley or anybody else that can make it happen, I don't need to speak with you guys because we want results. You guys are all talking about stuff that we already know. Give us something that is a result, and I can do that.
Well, we have your name and we'll be certainly be following up with you. Thank you. You got it. All right. Go
My
ahead,
name
please.
is Sharon Doherty. Just a few points I want to make. Ian Hanney, you had mentioned to stick to people getting their information off your website. Your website neglects to point out the shooting up in downtown, the shooting up in the library, the public defecation, the screaming, yelling through the nights, the open wounds that people are dropping bandages as they walk past my house and many others. So your site isn't giving the full picture, and that's not a fair representation to these people that aren't seeing it every day. The other thing, Valerie Colasanti actually had told me there's 2 permanent bans currently, and there are often temporary bans from the shelters, and those people have nowhere to go but Rainbow Park, which Miles Fanny, you referred to tonight, where they can take their pizza, you know, as a takeaway. But you didn't mention under Vital Street overpass, you didn't mention behind the church out by Walmart, you didn't mention by Centennial Park, or the one that was at the Lambton County Health Unit the other day. Where are these people getting their takeaways? So you haven't mentioned, those are encampments too. The other thing I want to know is, as far as tiny homes go, this is County of Lambton. How much property is being looked at in, say, I don't know, Petrolia, Point Edward, Oil Springs, Lambton Shores? Why is it always dumped on Sarnia? If they're gonna go and have some kind of inclusive housing where it's wrapped around and people can be taken care of, the best thing is to get them out of Sarnia where the drug dealers are. The other thing you can start doing is consider revamping the existing shelters to get emergency coverage for as many people as possible. If it means revamping and building some fake wall, like temporary walls, do it. Get it done for the winter. And the one more thing I am wanting to say is, Don Trepanier, you said in an interview recently that 95% of the drug addicts on the street right now will die. You would like to increase the survival by another 5%, so 10%. What are we doing here? We're either gonna spend $10 million saving them, or we're gonna fight the government to get mandatory help for these people and get them either incarcerated or into permanent care or temporary care. This is not a temporary solution issue.
Thank you. Okay, we have probably about 5 or 10 minutes left, so we've got three more to go. So, okay, go ahead.
I'm Jenna. I am hearing a lot of people that are really upset about like the timeline and the budget. Sorry, the timeline and the budget is like the level of frustration that seems to be, and safety for our friends. So there's a really wacky idea, and I know that it sounds crazy, but there are, I'm gonna say it out loud, cruise ships that are retired graveyard cruise ships that cost $5 million in a range of sizes. So I work on a cruise ship. There's police, security, morgues, there's housing, there's kitchens, there could be jobs for those people, and then also it can be used as housing for international students that don't have any room to go, seniors. There's all sorts of levels of care that could be added in the
view of the cruise ship. Washrooms, like it's all already there. There's no building. We also have a giant waterway that just like parks it here in front. So I've been looking into this and trying to toy with that idea of like if all of these services could get on a cruise ship that's parked. It's not going on a cruise to Mexico or anything. Just keeping it here, but having
Let's, maybe we can note that suggestion. Thank you so much for that.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you.
Carolyn. I recently came to Sarnia about a year and a half ago. I live on the corner of Queen and Divine. And I encounter so many people coming back and forth from Rainbow Parks every day. They stop and they will talk to me and my service dog. They're friendly with me. I'm respectful to them and they're respectful back. I want people to realize that these are people. They are somebody's child, and they did not grow up and decide through their life that they wanted to live at Rainbow Park. They're here for some horrible reason, whatever that is. I'm a retired special ed teacher. I work with life skills students. And I know that so many of these people at Rainbow Park need some sort of a needs assessment done so that they are not all categorized as criminals or drug addicts, because there are some very decent people in Rainbow Park. I just want to see that their needs are met so that their suffering can end, so that they do not have to continue the rest of their life living the way that they have for years. You just have to spend a minute and talk to some of these people and see the torment in their life coming out of their faces.
I understand that people are defecating in the street. Do you think we want to use the bathroom outside in public in front of people? We don't, okay? We don't want to be animals. We don't want to be looked at like animals. We don't have a choice. I personally have tried to go to 7-Eleven, go to McDonald's, open public bathrooms. I don't like to use it. They will discriminate against us. I have actually urinated in my pants because they wouldn't let me use the bathroom. And at Rainbow Park, I don't see why we can't put outhouses. A couple outhouses, somewhere to shower. Like, we're people, you know, like it's not as easy as people think, and we are not all drug addicts. We are not all criminals. We don't kill people. You know, we want to help each other. That's our family out there. We're looking out for each other, because a lot of people don't look out for us.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Gail Minton. I don't live in Rainbow Park, but I just want to let
So I just want to clear, this will be our last question or comment.
Okay. I just want to let the neighbors know that we feel your pain, and it sounds like lots of good people are working for solutions. And then my second comment is just to Bob Bailey. And I'm not on any board, so I feel comfortable saying this right now. Like BC's Premier, who is looking at involuntary help for some people who need help and who won't get it, I really think that the province of Ontario and the government of Canada need to look at humane ways of doing that.
This is our last opportunity. Go ahead, Mike.
Hi, my name is Mike Tanner,
I'm a complete amateur at this game compared to the panel of professionals up there. But 6 years ago, I befriended a homeless man who had bipolar disease. It was a short-term memory loss, a complete lack of any financial acumen at all. And I've journeyed with him for 6 years. And believe me, it's not been easy. Test my patience, test my forgiveness, but in the end, it's extremely rewarding because, as several people have said, these are people, they're not problems to be solved. Each one needs a friend, each one needs someone to bat for them, and with all due respect to the services, it is not easy to access or navigate our government programs, whether it's housing, legal aid, health. And unless you have access to a computer, and on top of that, they're computer literate, it's almost impossible. And if you don't have a phone, you are completely isolated from society. So my challenge to everyone here is, rather than just listen to the problems and complain, get involved. Nightlight was mentioned, which is a way of befriending the people on the street, off the street, or people who are lonely, which is a huge problem in our society. One of their problems is it's a volunteer organization, it doesn't receive any government funding, so its hours are limited. When we're spending millions of dollars on all these other supports, why don't we give support to an organization that is hands-on and allows people to be involved? Anyway, just take encouragement.
Thank you, Mike. Well, there's an opportunity in about 10 minutes where we're going to do some wrap up, and I have some comments to make about message to community leaders, and maybe you may want to respond to that. You may not want to. But I think based on what you're going to in terms of summarizing what we've heard, if it's okay, we'll hear from you before the end of the evening. Okay, on that note, I'm going to invite Stephane to come forward and on behalf of the county say a few words on behalf of the county.
Valerie's back there. I gotta bring it back up. Again, thank you, Mr. Barfield, Stephane. I'm currently the CEO for Lambton County. First, I'd like to thank the Rotary Club for having us tonight. Thank my guest speakers as well for being here and providing their expertise, their views, and perspective on the very important issues that are before us. Today, I do want to just confirm our commitment to our approach to the issue of housing and homelessness, and that approach is guided through the leadership and direction of our council, our county council. I believe in making these closing remarks that my remarks resonate perfectly with the opening remarks that were made, unbeknownst to me or anybody else on this panel, earlier this evening. And those comments that were made by Mr. Cooey and of course Mr. Curran were the following. One, that we're looking for locally made solutions. Absolutely. Two, that we're looking for dialogue, gathering together. I think they were quoting Mayor Preston from St. Thomas. Thirdly, they're looking for a coordinated community response. And I will address that in my closing comments. And then lastly, we're looking forward-looking. Where are we going? How are we progressing? I'll speak to that again. In terms of my discussion, my closing remarks today, really three subject matters that I want to confirm with you, address with you. One, we'll talk about collaboration and partnership. Two, we'll talk about the services and programs. And three, we'll talk about advocacy, progress, where do we want to go from here. In terms of collaboration and partnerships, next slide please.
We're mandated by our county council to have a coordinated approach, meaning that it's a multi-sector, multi-dimensional, multidisciplinary approach to housing and homelessness, which means three things. One, we get the right people at the table, we get the experts at the table, and we work with a lot of those individuals, and I'm speaking of community support workers, regulated health professionals, youth workers, folks with our police services that work in this field, outreach workers, whose services, expertise, and perspective on this issue is greatly valuable. Their contribution is absolutely invaluable. In addition, those individuals then come to us from a number of agencies that we work with and we coordinate our efforts. The County of Lambton, and not just the County of Lambton, community agencies all work together. There is no less than 15 agencies that we work together directly, not to mention those that we work with indirectly. So I'd like to take the opportunity at this point in time to thank those agencies as well for their commitment, dedication, and expertise to this issue. I think of the Good Shepherd, Miles, Hanney, and his team. Thank you very much. The Canadian Mental Health Association, Alana's Landing, Sarnia-Lambton, Ontario Health Team, our CHIC program, Salvation Army, to name just a few. So again, in terms of a coordinated approach, we bring together the experts from a number of different perspectives on this issue. Together, we work with agencies who are committed to resolving housing and homelessness issues in the community. And together, we further go out to the community by recruiting individuals to staff to provide their expertise, their perspective, and their lived experience amongst a number of committees that address one way or another, directly or indirectly, housing and homelessness. Next slide, please. And there they are. So where does that lead? That's collaboration, communication, commitment, which again is mandated by our county council. We don't look at this and look at ourselves in the mirror and judge ourselves. We go out and we seek validation, criticism from outside agencies, outside of the area, provincial and national. And we've been recognized locally through, again, the efforts of our elected officials and the efforts of our community members, such as yourself, and been recognized for our initiatives and innovation in collaborating and communicating on this issue. Next slide, please. Now that, relying on the right professionals, the right agencies, the right team members, and of course, my apologies, the right community members and all community members who collaborate, it leads to a variety of services and programs. I don't mean to repeat them, you've heard many of them today, but we look at and we serve thousands of individuals through various services and programs that are meant to avoid homelessness, to prevent homelessness, and therefore to keep people properly lodged, properly housed. Now, those are the services that we have. We of course have an issue in the community. We have, for instance, homelessness that is quite evident in Rainbow Park, for instance, that is causing a lot of frustration with respect to that park on a number of grounds. So what are we talking about in terms of moving forward, progress that Mr. Cooey, Mr. Curran were mentioning earlier this morning, or earlier this evening, as we started this dialogue, this conversation. Valerie Colasanti, Ian Hanney, our county, I did mention a number of those programs, I will not repeat them, but in terms of moving forward, through the leadership again of County Council and the expertise of the individuals I just noted, we are investing, spending in seed funding, and the seed funding is with community partners that there's an increase in stock and affordable and supportive housing so as to avoid again having individuals in the streets. In addition to that, and there's a continued commitment through our county council to those programs, in addition to that, we have active projects on the go. We have active construction for additional units. We have construction projects under conception, and then we've got other projects meant to increase the stock of necessary resources to continue to invest in this in affordable housing and supportive housing in the community. So, next slide, please. Next slide. And so again, three-pronged approach. Communication is key, collaboration is key. Our ongoing communication is a commitment that we have through Lambton County Council. We report on these matters on a monthly basis, publicly through that channel. We also now, of course, expanded our programs and our communication through the Department of Solution program that Ian Hanney mentioned today, and we will continue to collaborate with our partners. Next slide, please. So where does that get us? Where do we go from here, which is one of the questions posed by the Rotary Club, Mr. Tui and Mr. Curran earlier this evening. We are committed, again, to increasing the services, the programs, again, through the guidance and leadership and direction of the County Council, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of additional affordable housing. But in addition to that, it doesn't stop here. We hear, we understand the comments that are made this evening. We will take that back. We will communicate it to those agencies and committees that we work closely with. But in addition to that, it doesn't necessarily just stop here with this community, and again, through the direction of our County Council, we continue to advocate for the individuals who find themselves precariously housed and or homeless, and of course, the neighbors and citizens of Lambton County. Through those instructions from the County Council, we will continue to advocate on the root causes leading to this issue. We will move forward on those issues, and we'll continue to advocate the right sources. And on that note, we do advocate, there was mention of questions to the province and to the federal government. We continue to advocate to have a dialogue with our provincial partners, with our federal partners, and again with Mr. Bailey, Ms. Gladue, Mr. Pensionot, MPs and VPs for the provincial and federal government here. So that advocacy of many issues that we've heard from you continues as well through our channels. And ultimately, the goal here, and your goal here, is to improve housing and health outcomes for all residents of Lambton County. We fully understand, again, through directions and guidance and leadership that we receive from our County Council, that ultimately this impacts us all, and we want to improve it for all. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're into the home straight here, and my job is now to, between us, to sort of wrap things up and point to next steps. For those that know me well enough, never ever leave a meeting without being very clear about where we go from here. What are the next steps? So in the spirit of that, I'm going to leave you with some